Hey, just gonna do a review on this book, Attached. And before I do that, I do want to talk about Vipassana that I've just been back from. It was a really good experience. If you haven't heard of Vipassana before, it's a 10-day meditation course, and you meditate from about 8 to 11 hours a day. And because it was my second year there, I did have to fast. I only had breakfast and lunch, and I had to fast for 16 hours. And the next time I go, I have to sleep on the floor. But it's all a learning curve, and you do realize a lot of things, and realizations come, and you see the path a lot clearer. And I do want to talk about that today. I suppose when I did come home, I was feeling very warm and fuzzy inside, and nearly like a little child. And I think that's really important. It's said that the children will inherit the kingdom of God, and that's when you keep a childlike heart, you see things a wee bit more as fun and enjoyable, and you're very light-hearted, and it's really important to keep those things within you. And I guess all the great sages and saints that have went before us have all said to know thyself, and that's an inward journey, and through meditation you do discover that. And what happens is, I guess you're you're realizing, like, even I suppose people that became saints and knew themselves, they knew why they were doing things and why they shouldn't, and they were becoming very pure and clean and honest with themselves. And I'm not saying you're going to become a saint, but you'll definitely be on a spiritual path, and you'll be walking on that path. So you will, and your life will become change in many ways, great ways, and you become very happy within and blissful. But yeah, you're looking at yourself, and you're finding out why you do the things you do. But I guess, how would you say it? And inward, yeah, it's about like nearly having self-love as well, and you do need courage and to be brave to do that. And I guess you have to be courageous to be able to experience any of the virtues. But the love that you find is going to help you discover who you are. And it's, I guess, you're going to see things as they are, and you're going to see them being very real, and awareness will come. And it's not very magical awareness, like, people think it is, but it's just you're becoming more real, and you see things as they are, and your ego kind of comes down. So when someone says, oh, I think you're wrong there about that, and they back it up with evidence, you're kind of like, oh, me, you're right there. And then you become real because you know the reality of it. And that's what makes it kind of special. But awareness as well, a lot of people have a good bit of awareness, like, when someone walks into a room, they haven't said anything, and you just know they're stormed through the room, and they're angry. So that's awareness. Or someone comes in and all the flowers die in the room because they're so boring. So that's awareness. So most people have it, but it does get stronger. You be better at reading even body language. You kind of know when someone's upset, or they look exhausted, and different things like that. And body language, we talk that about, I think 80% anyway, is true body language. So you become very aware of that, and sensitive to the world. So that can be really, really good for you, for your development. But yeah, other things that happen are you become one with your past. You kind of accept your past, and sometimes you maybe even think it's a bit pathetic being sad about it, because then you become to know yourself. You then understand other people, and you say, oh, they went through a worse time, and mine wasn't even that bad, and I'm cribbing and crying, and I'm carrying it everywhere with me, like big bags of rubbish on my back. So you do become one. You forgive as well, and in forgiving, it's very powerful, because that means you can start over, and you begin a new path, and all the dirt that you've caused in your life, you can then change to gold, and then that's a really good journey to go on. So yeah, but with meditation, it is kind of like a lot stronger. It's when you do, especially Vipassana, it's like having going into the core, into the roots, and pulling them out, and things you didn't even know you were annoyed about that you suppressed. For many years, they all come out through the meditation, and that's what happens. It's very like nearly brain. You have a brain transplant nearly, or something like that. But yeah, the things that you buried and suppressed all come out, and um, yeah, even things that you're afraid of and your dark side, all of that comes out, and things that you nearly wouldn't say in a relationship, maybe that would destroy a relationship. Those things you're willing to say, and you're willing to say it to your partner, and that's a great journey, because then you're becoming very spiritual, and with your partner, you're not just being a friend, because a friend is someone that just be like, oh, everything's going to be okay, and you're not about that, sure, you'll be grand. But a spiritual partner will be like, if you're upset, they'll be like, why are you thinking that way? What's the root? What's the cause? And they'll want to know all that, and they help you grow, so they do, and they won't stay with you unless the two of you are growing. Also, they're becoming full circle when you're becoming spiritual, and you become complete yourself. You don't feel someone is going to complete you, you complete yourself, and in that then you can really love another. And it's so important to go on that journey, especially if you have a partner, to be spiritual, to be a spiritual partner. You'll have a really good relationship with them. So that kind of is, what happened in Vipassana. Vipassana itself means to observe as well, and that was another kind of key, I guess, to observe the life, to not be so attached to it, because misery is everywhere. Misery will come to you if it's not with you, and it'll be fired into your face. And when you learn to meditate and observe, you don't attach yourself to it, and you see it and its misery, and you try to overcome it and sort it out. So you do, and then every time it comes to you, the misery again and again, it becomes weaker and weaker. And it's the same with knowing yourself. You don't want to talk about a breakup. It really hurts you, and it feels like a knife's in your heart. And then you're knowing yourself, you're being honest and pure and open, and you open up and you talk about it, and the next time you talk about it, it doesn't hurt you, and it's getting weaker and weaker. So these things, obviously, you how are you going to explain it? Oh no, I'll explain it a bit better in a minute, actually. Because there was another book, so there was, and he explained it, and it's really good. So yeah, so with that, then I guess, so I forget where I ended up there. Yeah, so basically, the great thing about it was learning all of this is kind of to know yourself, okay, and love yourself, and to forgive. And it was really interesting when I found this out, because then I watched a video about Angela, or Maya Angelou, and I've never met anyone like her, or seen anyone like her, or heard someone speak like her, and she's the mentor for Oprah. And she was asked what was the best advice you were given, and she said to forgive. And that doesn't mean you have to be friends with them or anything. It just means, you forgive and move on. And then she said, what advice would you give? And she said, know thyself and look after this. And so I thought, she's a very wise woman. She's aligned with life. And what I've discovered, I even found that she's talking about it, and that makes it even all the more better, so for those points to come across. So yeah, to know thyself, it's definitely the key to life. And don't think someone's going to fill you up. You have to fill yourself up, and that's self-love, and nothing can, you then hook into the source, and it's better than, a relationship. People think the epitome of life is someone's going to save them and be in this beautiful relationship, when really it's you that's going to save yourself. And that's the beauty about life. But yeah, no, my book, How to Find Yourself, it's kind of sold out on Amazon, but do link, there'll be a link to this video, and do link in and go onto the blog, and whenever you can even purchase that, because that there is all about the road to finding yourself, and it's a bit of like a philosophy of life, and it definitely gives you some really good points there. But there was the book that is it is Oprah Winfrey's favorite book. It's called Seat of the Soul, and it was saying similar things about knowing thyself, but it was about knowing thy personality. So getting to know your, love liberates, and love will, when you are love, you become very authentic. But he was saying, know your personality, so much the ins and outs of it, like what angers you and what makes you jealous. And a lot of people go around thinking like, oh, I'll do things for others to maybe look good in society, and you nearly, I suppose, what would you say, looking valuable or looking good and all of that. And it's not, it's about you. And a lot of them actually say, oh, I'll change the world, but it's about you changing yourself and being authentic, and not thinking you have to go around helping everyone to look good. So that's no good. It's all about inward journey. And the jealousy, the rage and the anger will come up, and he then said, observe it, observe that, and then be consciously aware of it, and intimately know it, and know where it came from. And then, because you're aware of it, just put love on it, put love over it like an ointment, and and then it'll make you more real, so it will, and in a better place. And that's all about knowing thyself, and it's about being intimate with yourself. And the beauty about that is, when you're intimate with yourself and you know yourself, is then you can be really intimate with another, and really truthful and really real with them, and you can have a spiritual relationship with someone, and that's even more beautiful. So it is. So I really like that. But I suppose getting to the bottom line is to get this book review done. But I do, Angela, or Maya Angelou, she talked, if you watch any of her videos, there's some little clips for 3 minutes, and there's some for half an hour and an hour, and just one for 3 minutes, like, she'll just change your whole life. She's just amazing, like the knowledge she has and different things. And she talked about, about icons, John Lennon and Mother Teresa and Gandhi. Gandhi, I suppose he fasted until the British left India, and he's actually, I read his book, and the funny thing about his book was those things I didn't know about him. And one of the things was, he used to visit brothels, sleep with lots of prostitutes. He used to force himself upon his wife, and that's probably why he decided to have that, never have sex and different things. But yeah, like, an icon is someone that breaks out of life. But when I read his book, I felt, he was just ordinary like us. But what Maya Angelou said is, they are people are no different. We're all the same. And she said those people that became icons, that just grabbed onto something, and they ran with it, and probably they were very true to themselves, and they were following their true path and their true destiny. And that's when you become authentic, when you're following your true path and following your heart, and it comes out nearly that you look like a god. But everyone has the potential to do that and become that. And I think it's really important for people, to find out what their purpose is and what they should do. And that's, a thing I want to talk about today as well. Someone gave me this really good idea about finding out what you should do, and a lot of people don't know what they should do, but everyone has a platform. Either you want to be a baker, or you want to maybe open a creche, you know, and have kids, mind them, or you want to work for the environment, you know, that's go and do your passion. And it doesn't matter if you earn money or much money, you'll still survive and you'll be happy, so you will. So a lot of people don't know really what they want to do, but this was a really good way of finding out. It was, you draw 4 circles, and in each circle you find out what you should be doing. So one of the circles says that what did you grow up with as a child. So as a child, I grew up on a farm, around animals and nature. So I like things like that, you know, and people and different things. So very kind of grounded and nature and stuff. And then the other thing was, what have you been doing in the last 10 years? So when I think back of what I've been doing, it probably would be working in office jobs, so kind of admin work and different things. So I like marketing and different things, so learn about marketing and social media and stuff like that. So um that would probably be what I would do, put down as the last 10 years. And then what do strangers say to you? Like, do they say anything to you? Not your parents or your friends, but strangers. Like, do they say, oh, you have a lovely smile? Because someone maybe with a lovely smile should be, you know, talking on TV, or do they say you're always reading or you're very chatty? So just kind of find out what they say, because it's normally the truth. And then the last circle was, what do you find yourself talking about on a Saturday night? What would you just love to talk about all day? So for me, I like environment. I like talking what I'm talking about now, book reviews and spirituality, different things like that, meditation, all of that. I could talk about that all day. So for me, then I would know I'm kind of into things with social media, promotion, self-help, you know, realization, like about the good life or about the environment, or helping the environment. So that kind of would be something I should be into, and I should probably work in, and that is what I'm kind of doing now. So I think that's a really good way of finding out sometimes if you don't know what you want to do. So maybe hopefully that has helped you. But getting back to this book, okay, Attached. A little bit off the beaten track about what I'm talking about today, but hopefully it all ties in. With the book Attached, okay, so there's 3 types of people. There's the stable people, there's the anxious people. We all know what the stable person is, you know, they're very level headed and that. The anxious person is that person, you know, always on the phone saying, why hasn't he rang me? Or where is he? Is he interested in someone else? And blah, blah, blah. Then the avoidant person is, you just never know where you stand with them. They're not very affectionate. So you always feel like you're missing out when you're going out with them and different things. So when I read this book, it was interesting. It said if you go out with, if you're any of them like avoidant or anxious, and you go out with a steady, they can bring you out of that and bring you back into being steady. It was interesting though. It did say at the start of the book, it said you when you're going out with someone and they're stressed and they're fighting with you and different things, you become very stressed and you mimic and you mirror and you breathe together, so you do, and your hormones are stimulated at the same time, and you nearly become one, you know. And it's really important then you're going out with someone healthy, because you'll just be always out of tune and stuff, and feel not good inside and things like that. And yeah, I just thought, it pumps the blood around your body. The person you're going out with, nearly, it was saying, it was all in tune. And I always thought love pumped, your blood around your heart, and it nearly held the stars in the sky. But yeah, your partner has a big influence on you. And yeah, I guess when you do say like behind every man is a great woman, I do believe behind every woman is a great man, and I suppose a woman is a man's weakness, but to a man, a woman is her strength, So it's really important that they connect very well. And on this book, I suppose anxious people seem to have a bit more of a chance because they're just anxious and they just need a little bit more time and affection and reassurance, and then they'll normally come out of that. But with the avoidant person, the avoidant person doesn't really want to listen to anyone. They normally, when they break up, they're like, there's nothing wrong with them, there's something wrong with their partner, and no one's perfect, so obviously there's going to be little hiccups. So um yeah, so they are very reluctant to get help and support. And I don't know, I remember when I was older and I was, more self-respect for myself, loving myself more and different things. I remember, going on a date, and the fella was a bit avoidant, and I found out he was still heartbroken from his ex. So I was like, I'm out of here, and I couldn't date an advising person. And I remember even going on a few dates with my cousin's friend, and he was just, you wouldn't really know where you stood. We went out on a date, and then the following week, and I never heard from him. And my cousin was like, oh, he's away with other women. So for me, I'd be like, when you like someone, especially at the start, you be really into them, and you don't go on avoidant. Maybe you'd be avoidant later on if you're going out a year or two. But yeah, for me, avoidant people, I wouldn't be on my radar. But maybe when I was younger, I did go out with one. I only went on dates with them and I was gone. But when I was younger, you'd get a kick out of being with someone avoidant. You'd get like adrenaline rush because you wouldn't know where you stood and all that. But it's kind of all a load of crap, because I went out with someone steady and then being there for you and all that. There's so much more happiness and contentment, and get really intimately to know them, because with the avoidant person, you never get to know really get to know them at all, and they're never deep or intimate, so you're never really fulfilled. And what happens with the anxious person is they kind of just say, oh, I'll put up with it, and they sacrifice their own happiness and they betray themselves, and deep down they're not happy with the person. Eventually those relationships end because of the unhappiness, and that's hopefully then when you're on the road to self-discovery, know thyself, and getting out of that and getting maybe some counselling or whatever you need, getting some love to remedy the problems. But I don't know, like when I was younger, like when I was young, and I talk to young people and they're like, I'm not going out with anyone, they're pure avoidant, and they're like, I love my freedom, and I was like a free spirit and no one would be tying me down, when you're real young. And I think a lot of kids are like that now, because I suppose we waited a long time for freedom and women's rights and that, so everyone's just like, I'm living the free life. But yes, I remember being like that when I was younger. And what would you say? Yeah, like I would have loved to be going out with someone and be cared for, and on Valentine's Day have presents and that. You know, but so you do want to be loved, but you're just not there yet, or something. You want to be free or something like that, and you do care about people, but it's not on your agenda to be getting too deep or something like that. So yeah, and I don't know if all kids are like that. Some are into relationships, but most young ones are. And then when I was older, I probably was a wee bit anxious. So, and then you can actually do attached test online, and I'm stable now, but I did a lot of inner work on myself. um but normally you have one of them, you're avoidant or anxious. So I'm probably a mega bit of a flawed person because I was two. But I definitely believe that if you are one of these people, these type of people have tasted a bit more of life, know a bit more of life, especially when they overcome their obstacles, and they've been through the wars and different things. And I think those people end up, because they're more understanding, They end up being extremely good lovers and great partners when they come out of it. And definitely you need to give yourself a chance and make sure, if you are one of those people, to overcome that. But like, even if you're secure, like, some days you're going to be like insecure, or you're going to be anxious, or you're going to be going out with someone a year or two and you're going to be avoidant. Like, that's natural. But with anxious and avoidant, it's extreme. They're constantly anxious on their nerve, and avoidant, they're constantly being avoidant. So definitely would advise you to get on the right path, and look into that if you do feel you are one of those type of people. Is there anything else I wanted to say? Yeah, no, I think that was it. That was really all the book really had to say about that. There was nothing else really in it, but it was an interesting read. I would advise anyone to read it, just to know a bit more about yourself. And yeah, that's it. I will talk to you soon. Bye.